Hello, I'm David Amberghini, and for as long as I can remember, the question has preoccupied me. What separates the successful individual from the unsuccessful individual? Now, I've studied this for countless hours, thousands worth of book material, worked with successful individuals, worked within the businesses with marketing, logistics, and I've seen the in and out of what is the separation of it. And I don't want to waste your time in this discussion. The answer is very simple. It's been in front of us the entire time. There's three things. You have to have a plan, you have to have a timeline, and you have to implement action. That's it. That's as simple as that. And in today's discussion, I want to go over how you can all just write this formula and get the ball moving, because no one's going to sit all of you down and say, this is what you have to do. You have to take that initiative. No one knows what you want out of life besides yourself. You only know your true desires, how much money you want, how much success, your relationship, your health, your wellness, the list goes on. And there was a very successful American tycoon and self-made billionaire, H.L. Hunt. And he said there's only three requirements for success. Starting with number one, you have to be very specific on what you want out of life. What is the goals? You have to write it down. You have to have it. You have to remind yourself it. What are you going for? And until that's written down, your mind doesn't know what to start looking out for. Your perception won't open up to the opportunities to start giving you that person for that success. And the second point is, he really stresses, is you have to be willing to pay that price, because you're going to sacrifice. This is the manifestation aligned with the law of attraction. The manifestation is drawing the stuff down. It's writing it down. You're starting to think. You're starting to imagine. You're like a kid again. You have this like open board and you start drawing all the cool things like you couldn't fail. Imagine you couldn't fail. You'd write down a million things. But right now, you're so indoctrinated and you're so scared of what other people believe and think of you that you only probably will write down nothing. And that's okay. I'm here to kind of break that down so you can start today. So with that second point, the law of attraction that H.L. Hunt is referring to is when you are sacrificing, you're going to lose things. You're going to lose the things that do matter for exchange of things that don't matter. You're going to lose the people around you. You might change your friends in order to get new friends that have better resources or a network. All that stuff's going to happen. You're going to lose the setting that you're at right now. You're going to lose maybe the car that you have right now. All of these things are going to happen. That's a very, very scary thing, but you have to know that that's part of life. We're meant to grow. We're not like trees. We grow like trees, but we're not stationed. We grow and we can bounce around and we can do all of these things, and that's what's amazing. We all have all of this energy that's just built up, ready to be put towards something. But all of us have to do is just utilize it and put it towards it. But you know where we go wrong is we let other people draw our lives for us. Think about it. We trade our time that should be priceless for a paycheck, for a salary, and we're just basically trading someone else's life. When if you just sat back and you took the weekend off from your 40-hour work week, 50, 60, whatever it may be, and just drew on a piece of paper your goals, a plan, and action, your own formula, you would be the person that's creating the life and time for yourself. And the third point H.L. Hunt is basically saying is repay that price. Give back once you obtain all the things you do, because you're going to get it. You can do it. All the things that you want in life is already here. It's on this planet. It's just creating the person deserving of the goals and person that you're trying to become. And another incremental thing that I want to say is there's something called the plateau of latent potential. It's what you do on a daily basis that adds up and eventually trajects to your future self. It's not the person that sprints and goes super hard, does some 75-day hard challenge, or anything like that. It's the person that does little things on a daily basis. The turtle will always win. You always want to go slow. You're going to outrace the person that's the rabbit in the long run, because if you live the life that we have, it could be long, but it also is very short. And we'll go into that further in this discussion as well. So what I mean by all of this is we're going to draw a couple different boards. There's 5 really important boards that I've referred to, I've done. There's billionaires, millionaires I've also seen that either unknowingly do this or they actually premeditate and do this. And from the friends that didn't know of this, that I've had them kind of test it out for fun, their whole mind is just blown. Their world completely changes. They start actually realizing how important it is to actually have this calculation and start going towards the things that they want to do by as simple as just writing it down. So the 5 boards that we're going to talk about today is the you now. This is the person that is watching this as we speak. Then it's going to be the person that you want to become. Then the third board is the time. This time is the urgency. This is going to give you that anxiety you need to get the pep in the step for the action. And then the fourth board we're going to talk about is everything in terms of your goals. This is the basic things like writing it down. You have it with you on a daily basis. You have it with you in your car, your purse, your wallet. It's just a reminder when you have a bad day, you understand that it's not the end of the world and what you're going for every single day. Because there's going to be days where you're down and you're like, what am I doing this for? And we need to tap into that subconscious. Now, just a quick statement. We'll go into this in a further discussion. 5 to 10% of your brain is the conscious. Just think about a very, very small circle. And then we go to, we'll draw it out here. So the conscious is like this. So this is only about 5 to 10% of your brain. And then we go like an hourglass here. Now this is your subconscious and this is your conscious. And we need to understand that you need to tap into your subconscious. And by writing this down and having this plan, you're going to keep reminding it and you're going to sound like a broken record. Your friends and family are going to think that you're a whole different person because you can't focus on anything besides these goals and stuff. It becomes an obsession. It starts becoming yourself because you're getting rid of your old self in exchange for a person you're trying to become. Now, this is the law of attraction at a very severe level. And this is where we need to get to, but this is where we start. This is the logical thinking. This is only 5 to 10% of your brain right now. So in today's discussion at the end, I'm hoping we can get here after these boards. And the fifth final board, it's a headache. This one we all dislike. This is a board that you're gonna have to rip up a million times on paper, on these storyboards. And this is the one that's actually going to solve for where you want to be in life. This is gonna be a kinship. It's like a spider web. So ancestry.com, where it has a little bit of a separation, where we'll go to it in a little bit, but everything's gonna kinship. So you have a problem here that you're trying to decide, and it just keeps kinshipping down. And this is important because if we have option A or option B or option even C, say college, a job, or starting a business, and then we keep kinshipping the pros and cons, this will inevitably kind of get this formula going to see a visual of a pros and cons of, well, if I do this, this is going to happen. If I do this, this is going to happen, etc., etc. And you can go so detailed to the time it's going to take you to be able to have some sort of money amount, when you're going to have kids, when your kids are going to have kids. All of these things are able to be broken down. And the more detailed you are and as many boards as you do will basically solidify where and where you go in life, essentially. So let's get into it. We'll start with board number 1 and get going. So typically you're going to have 5 different pieces of paper and different boards. And the reason being is you want to do a bunch of rough drafts, you want to have a bunch of final, copies, etc., etc. This is helping you get your thoughts and your dreams and your goals essentially written. So envision that this is board number 1, this is board number 2. Either the storyboards you can get from Target, convenience store, or just even pieces of paper, lined paper from a notebook, whatever works. So this is paper 1 or storyboard paper number 2. This is going to be the you now. The one that is here right now in this discussion. This is the person of write your name. You want your date and time of when you start this, your relationships. You want your school, job, college, whatever you're doing right now in this very moment, and transportation and setting. Are you living at home? Do you have an apartment? All that stuff you want to put down. The more detailed, the better. This is just the layout that I usually go by. You can be more detailed than this, but I at least recommend starting with this base. Income level and health overall. Your physical health, your mental health, all that stuff is very vital as well. Then once you get all this done, it's your dream self. This is the self that you can't sleep. You lose sleep over. You wake up and you're like, oh, another day, etc., etc. And act like a kid again. Don't overthink this. Don't think about the hows or the whys. Just think about if you couldn't fail and you were a kid again on a blank piece of paper, write these down. And the same thing. The name, the date and time, the setting, your income level, relationship, all the stuff that you really want. And be super, just be honest with yourself too for like this first board. So I know a couple of these are kind of self-explanatory, your name, date, time, etc. But for like the relationships and health, you want to say, are you single right now? And in your dream life, are you maybe married? In your health, what would you rate yourself? Are you in shape? Are you not in shape? Maybe say 6 out of 10. And then over here, say you want to be 10 out of 10, right? All of these things are kind of self-explanatory, but a couple of them are maybe rating based and where you want to become and where you want to be. So for the third board we'll go into is going to be a timeline. This is that reasoning of giving you that anxiety, but the good anxiety for you to actually get things going. And we'll go to that board next. For board number 3, this is the time. This is the time urgency. This is going to start getting you going, like I mentioned previously. And I'm saying 0. This is when you just got birthed, essentially. And then you want to go all the way until here, which is, say, 100 if we're optimistic. But we got to be a little bit more realistic here as well, where the average death of a male and female is about, I'd say, 70 to 80. And right here is how much time you really have. And then you gotta mark where you are right now as you're watching this or as you're starting to draw this out, which myself, 22, say I'm around about here, 22 years old, and I got until here. So this is where it gets a little anxiety fulfilled, because each year you have only 8,760 hours. Now you sleep about 2,900 of that. That is about 1/3 of your year, and if you look at your life, that's 1/3 of your life. So wherever you are right now, say I'm 22, subtracted by, say, 70, which I believe it's 74.5, 75, give or take. Now we're looking at not much longer that we have here realistically. So just for the sake of this video, we'll do 70 minus 22. We're looking at 48. That's how much time I actually technically have until I'm approximately supposed to be dead. And I also need to take 1/3 of 48 as well. So if we cut that in a chunk too, we're looking at 32. So approximately 1/3 of 48 we're looking at is 32 years old. Now, I have 32 years to actually do something in my prime. This is the time that I really have to action and action and action after everything that I actually want out of this lifetime. That's a little scary. That's a little concerning because we think here, but in reality, this is where we're at. This is the prime where we can actually go for the goals we want, create the life that we want, not live through someone else, going on social media, scrolling, living through sports, whatever that may be. This is all the time we really have. And before you know it, blink of an eye, just like everyone says, I've talked to many people that have passed away, and every single one of them on their deathbed or just close to it always says, I wish I did more. I wish I, went for the dream job or went for that business, went for that girl that just opened my eyes. All of this stuff is crucial because they all feel like they're 20 years old still in an 80, 90-year-old body. And if that doesn't say how fast life goes, I don't know what does. And when you go in these systematic, routines working for someone, especially in the Midwestern part of the world, everything is just go, go, go all the time. And it's not the most efficient or making the most of your life. It's definitely not the best way to go about it. We're stuck in these paradigms. We're stuck in these just patterns. That's just not honestly what we should be doing as humans. And that can be a little alarming. So this is good because when it gets to our goals, I'm gonna get yellow here. When it comes to now our goals with this stuff, this is just to get the anxiety going. But when we go to board number 5, as well as instead of the kinship part, this is where we start implementing what we want to do in life. So for example, if you want to start working a job or starting a business, you can calculate how long it's going to take, and you make markings of where you want to start, make notes, say at 30, I want to be married and have kids, at 25, I want to start that business. All of these things you want to start implementing, and then you start thinking on a actual urgency level, because without a timeline, without any sort of thing written down, your brain is not going to know where to look for the opportunities and actually start acting to get the life that you want. This is something that everyone either, like I said before, unknowingly or does do it premeditated or calculated to get the things that they want. This is used with SMART goals within big corporations like Coca-Cola, Tesla. Any billion-dollar, even multi-million-dollar company has used these type of things. And if it's not them, it's their employees that they just give to hit these quotas and their timelines to do it. So if you can do this with yourself, you're going to be successful and you're going to get the things that you want in a timely manner before it's too late. So let's move on to board number 4. And this one's very simple. This is going to be goals. And now for the 4th board, this is where you're going to have on a big storyboard or a piece of paper, and also most importantly, always on you. This is something that can go in your purse, your wallet, your car, wherever your whereabouts are on a daily basis. This is very important. So goals, I recommend 1 to about 10 goals. If you're confident, you can go more than that, that's fine. But I recommend to start at least 1 to 10. Now, what is that dream car that you want? What is that dream relationship status? Do you want kids or no kids? What type of setting or house? What type of relationship and friends? All of these things you need to put, even income level, all this stuff is very important and vital. Are you in college right now, but do you want to, own a business one day? Are you driving a car that's about to break down? Do you want a Lamborghini or something one day? It's fine. Don't feel greedy or anything. That's human nature. You want this mindset to start going. And just don't be, fearful that you're putting things that make you sound greedy, because it is important. If you don't do this, your brain is not going to know where to start creating this life that you want. You have to get the ball rolling with manifestation, law of attraction, and most important, action. So with this board right here, I have a sheet of paper I've done several times. You can also mess with it and tailor it as the years go on. Like, for example, I used to have an income level. It's like, I want to reach 6 figures one year. And then once that was hit, I wanted to alter it. And I always have kept it with me. So in my wallet, I have 2 sides of it I keep with me on a daily basis. I have one in my car. I even have one at my girlfriend's house. Everywhere I go, I make sure I have this list, because we all have bad days. And there's a lot of days where when I do feel kind of like low frequency, I have to remind myself, this is the why, and this is the subconscious that we were talking about in the beginning of this video. This is the emotion. When I'm doing things, I'm thinking of, say my mother that passed or father. These are really crucial, vital things to get that motivation going. And for all of you, is there your future kids that you want, that you're doing this for? Do you have a lost, family member that's deceased that they're looking above you or, down upon you on what you do on a daily basis? These are very good things that you should use and uplift yourself as motivation. You have energy every single day, about 100% of it. But where you put it on a daily basis is important. Are you putting it on TikTok or some sort of social media scrolling? Are you, working for someone else? Whatever it may be, your energy is taking and extracting from yourself on a daily incremental basis. But if you sit down on the afternoons with the little energy you have left, or the weekends, and draw out a plan, and you have a timeline and action, you will actually start creating the life that you want. So let's move on to the last board, the one that you're not gonna like, but the most important to start actually getting the stuff you want in this lifetime. Board number 5. Now we have board number 5. This is the most important. This is the piece of paper storyboard that you're gonna kind of erase a lot. You're gonna, rip up, whatever that may be. But this is actually how you start obtaining what you want in life. Because now that you have the goals that you want, you have where you are now to where you want to be, and you have a timeline. These are all boards that you want laid out across from you. Now, in the sake of this discussion, it's only a board, but you should have all these pieces of paper next to you right now or after this. Play this as many times as you want. Take pictures, screenshots of this discussion. It's very important and vital that you take notes and not just watch or listen. You have to put the action or it doesn't work. So we have option A, B, and C. What does this mean? Say you're in the middle, you're living at home, your parents are saying you have to go to college, but you want to start a business or also maybe go into the trades or start a job or whatever it may be. So you have college, then maybe this is trades or starting work right away, and then this is starting a business. You write all these down and you can tailor it as many times as you want. It could be even with relationships. Girl A, girl B, or girl C. What are the pros and cons lists? It could be anything like that. Literally, this is a formula that you can write for yourself, whatever it may be. So then we kinship. This is what I call kinshipping. And when you do this, option A, like we talked about, this being college, this might say take us till we're about 23 years old, and then also what is our income status? If your parents aren't paying for college or whatever, what is your income? You might be in debt, negative 30K US dollars or wherever you're from, and then where you're going to be living at, your setting. Be as detailed as possible. Then on this other side, you put more details as well in your college as well. If you run out of room on this piece of paper with what are your friends going to look like, what are your resources going to look like, everything in your piece of paper number 1 or storyboard, you're going to start implementing here. And then option 2, like we mentioned, this is work. Do you go to the trades right away? What is all of this going to look like here? You know, in about however many years time till you're, say, 23 years old, you might have saved, instead of negative 30,000, you might have 30,000. You might be invested in a long-term investment, all of these things. And option number C would be, say, starting a business, and you don't know the outcome here for income in that, but that's why you have to figure this out. I can't, tell you exactly what the best answer is with all of this, or that would be one-on-one consulting, or that would be basically like a mentor. All I can kind of do in this sake of discussion is give you the blueprint for you all to start obtaining your dream lives. And with this is a great start. You have all this stuff written down, you start implementing, you're gonna start getting things going. The energy and frequency, you're gonna start feeling higher. You're gonna actually feel more confident because you're working towards something. You're gonna be motivated. With the motivation, with a mix of discipline, it's gonna start getting the things going, the gears that you've been waiting for, and things are gonna start working. And the last point I wanna make with this discussion is be very careful too, after all of this, with your thoughts, because your thoughts become your words become your actions, and your actions become your reality. Continue with this, and I promise you, in about however many years' time, without doing this, you'd be in a whole different situation rather than actually having this form of calculation. So keep going, write this down, do as many as you want. It's gonna be a headache, but I promise you, you're gonna be way better off than if you didn't do this at all. So in conclusion of this, these are gonna be your pros and cons of your option A, B, and C. You can go as detailed as you want. This is your board. You have 5 different boards. For a recap, you have 1, the you now, the you that is here right now in this discussion. You have you number 2, the dream self, the self that you want and not the self that you are right now. And number 3 is your goals. This is something that you keep with you on a daily basis in your car, your wallet, purse, etc. 4, you need your timeline, the time you actually have until death, the time that you want these things obtained. And number 5, most important, the kinship. You're gonna have this, rip it up a million times, different ways, different formulas, every time you do it. And thanks again, everyone. Until next time.